today's video, I'm going to be harvesting our garlic and elephant garlic, and this is always one of my most favourite harvest days on the gardening calendar because I just love the excitement and pure joy of pulling bulb after bulb after bulb of delicious garlic out of the soil. It's the 24th of June today, and I sowed all of this garlic back in October. Now that's quite a long growing season because elephant garlic actually needs longer than the French garlic. I did sow it all at the same time just to get the job done. And what's quite interesting to see is that the French garlic is actually suffering from a bit more rust than the elephant garlic. In fact, there's virtually none on all of the elephant garlic. And that's probably because I could have taken the French garlic out a little while ago. Now, I could have actually harvested the whole lot about a week or so ago, but this is the first opportunity I've had, so today is the day. Also at the same time, I'm going to be harvesting some new potatoes out of this bed. This actually used to be a potato bed, and so there's still some volunteers in here. But I'm going to be clearing this bed as I go because tomorrow I'll be sowing this whole bed with carrots. And it would just be the mashua and the few yacon that are left around the edges. And I will leave some of the Swiss chard to mature for a little bit longer as well so that we can harvest the seed, but I will have a bit more of a tidy up of those at the same time. So let's get harvesting. Okay, let's see what we've got. Now you will notice that mostly I'll be able to harvest this garlic with my hands, and that's because this is no dig garlic. There we go, our very first bulb. Looking good, looking good. Beautiful. And actually the roots are coming out quite clean. But what I will do, I think, as I go with these garlics to save me a job later on, is just clean them up a little bit. There we are. And as you can see, that bulb has cleaned up really nicely. And it shows that the rust has only come more recently, because if you get rust too early on, that will stunt the growth of the bulb. But you can see that that is forming up really nicely. You can see the division of the cloves. So yeah, pretty happy with that. So we're actually doing 3 jobs at once here. We are 4 in fact. So we're harvesting garlic, we're harvesting potatoes, we're weeding the bed, and we're also making compost by saving all the greenery to break down and give back to our plants at a later date. Now, where this soil is actually so dry this year, I think I'm just going to go and get a little fork or a trowel just to get underneath the bulb so I can just help to lift it a little bit more, because what you don't want to do is damage the neck of the garlic whilst pulling them out, because especially for me, I'm going to plait my garlic, so we want this to be nice and intact. Potatoes coming out of here. know there's actually a few mixed views around whether you should cut the roots off the garlic and indeed strip any of the outer layers off, because some people say that it's already drying. But in all honesty, for a good few years now, I've gone with this method, and I can quite honestly say I'm still using elephant garlic from last year's harvest. I've got about 3 big bulbs left and they are still perfectly good. So they have actually stored and gone through just over a year, because June last year was really, really wet, very much unlike it is now. So I did actually pull the garlic out a little bit earlier than I normally would, because when garlic is close to harvest, it's not a good idea to leave it sat in wet soil, because that can affect how it stores. But yeah, from a very wet June, I harvested about the middle of June last year, and my garlic is over a year old. Okay, so that is our first row of the French garlic out, and I'm really pleased with how those bulbs are looking. They're looking a really good size, really healthy, all good. So yeah, the rust has definitely just come on late, because it has certainly not affected their growth at all, I would say. So the next 2 rows are elephant garlic, and I'm always super excited to see the size of the bulbs from the elephant garlic. So let's get stuck into those ones now. Right, so that is our first row of elephant garlic harvested. And about 2/3 of the row does appear to have come out as rounds, but we have still had a couple of massive, beautiful elephant garlics in there as well, which have divided beautifully. Now, if you're not sure about what rounds are or what to do with them and how to use them, then I did talk more about these in my previous garlic harvest video, which I'll tag in here, because I also did an experiment with replanting them that you might like to see, so check that out. Now, I have got a pretty good idea as to why a lot of this row has come out as rounds, and that is that I seem to remember actually planting all of my smallest seed elephant garlic first to get it out of the way, so that could explain it. And that's also a really good reminder as to why we should always plant back our biggest and our best seed. Now, I always save my biggest bulbs and cloves for planting, but yeah, I think I just decided the smallest out of the bunch I would get rid of first. But we'll see how we go. We'll harvest the next row and maybe it will be explained as to whether that is the case or not. Nice size. Okay, this looks like a good size garlic here. Woohoo, yes. Now this is why I love growing elephant garlic. Look at that. Get a little clean up, see what we've got. Yeah, we've got some beautiful big bulbs formed on that one. I'd say there is a strong chance that this one will be some of next year's seed garlic. Beautiful. That row was about 50-50 how it came out, rounds to fully formed cloves of garlic. So they are getting better, and the fully formed bulbs are getting bigger as well. So the next row is ordinary garlic. I'll get that harvested, and then we'll get back onto the elephant garlic and see what's happening. This looks like it's going to be a biggie, so it's looking promising. Oh yeah, this is a good one, really good one. And you might just notice as well these little corms that are on the side of the elephant garlics. I just let them drop back into the soil when I'm cleaning up the garlic, and not very often, but occasionally they will grow on, and then in a couple of years' time you might notice you get the odd elephant garlic popping up where you once planted it before. Yeah, this one's nice. This is just how we like our elephant garlic. Just get these potatoes from around this one. And you might notice when I'm pulling up these potatoes that I'm just doing it quite roughly. We're not particularly fussed about getting all of the potatoes out of the ground. These ones have grown here just as volunteers, and I'll show you in a bit how many potatoes I've actually harvested already from this area. I've got a big harvest of potatoes coming out of this bed at the same time as the garlic. And obviously that's just making so much better use of this space. So the volume of food coming out of here is really quite impressive. And yeah, we're really happy to leave some volunteers in the ground, because you never know, especially with the way the world is right now, you never know when you might need a few extra potatoes. So yeah, just roughly harvesting the main ones that I find, and then leaving in whatever gets left behind, maybe for next year. God, this one's roots have gone right down into our clay, which is beneath the deep compost and wood chip layer on this bed. And like I said earlier, I do favour just taking just a couple of layers of the outside covering off of the garlic. Some people say to leave it on because it's already drying, and I find that to be so when you feel how it is on the neck, but actually when it's down here and it's covered with a little bit of dirt, that actually holds the moisture on it, I feel, for longer. So, you know, I'd favour getting that away from your bulb so that the air can dry it out quicker and it will be nice and clean as well. Yep, that's the method I use, so let's keep going. Cleavers, I keep getting covered in the cleavers, and all these little seeds keep covering my gloves as well. We should be making cleaver coffee with these seed-in cleavers, or sticky weed, as you can see, just like our friends on Home Is Where Our Heart Is showed us how to do. But unfortunately right now I've got too much garlic to deal with, so I will have to find a big patch of cleavers another day to try making some of that. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That is a lot of flavour in that bulb right there. Oh, more cleavers and potatoes. Gotta love a bit of permaculture gardening. Make the most of your space, my friends. Make the most of your space. love. I honestly can't explain enough how much I love elephant garlic and how much I love seeing it come out of the ground. It is one of the most rewarding crops to harvest. I've said it before and no doubt I will say that again. Look at it. And it's so good. You flavour your soups, your curries. If you run out of onions, you can just use extra elephant garlic to flavour your food up, because it's a little bit more, it's a little bit milder than traditional garlic. And like my mum, she doesn't even really like garlic that much, but she is hooked on this elephant garlic because it gives such a milder but deeper flavour to your cooking. Like, I think it almost gives a slightly smoky flavour to cooking when you use a lot of it. So brilliant, love this stuff. So the elephant garlic is starting to shape up and look really good. We're still getting a few rounds out of each row, but we are getting some really, really big bulbs out as well. So that is awesome. I just want to show you how many potatoes we've taken out of this bed though so far as well. And they've just been growing here with the garlic happily as volunteers. So that means that they're just potatoes that have been left in from previous harvests. We didn't intentionally plant them. And yeah, that's why I'm happy to leave the odd one or two in as well, because you can't get enough potatoes. Let's just get one more row of the ordinary garlic out together as well, because I'm really, really impressed with how that is turning out as well this year. Possibly the best crop of the standard size garlic I've done so far, I think, maybe. And then I'll harvest the rest of it and I'll show you what we end up with. But do stay tuned, because I'm also going to talk to you more about how we cure and store our garlic to make it last right through a full year for us. I'm definitely noticing where the ground is a lot drier this year. Normally I can actually pull the garlic out a lot easier than this when the soil's a bit wetter. They just normally slide out a lot more, but even with all of our wood chip layers, because it's been so dry, really through the whole of this year, the whole of the winter has been not as wet as it normally is. And we're really starting to notice that in our beds, yeah, even with all the wood chip. So, something to think about going forward. The water table is definitely dropping year on year. But anyway, the garlic is coming out quite clean. That's one bonus to it being a bit drier. And supposedly it should store really well when it's been drier through maturity as well. So it's always a balance. Lots of dry soil attached, so we knock that off. Tidy up the roots, snip them right back to just a couple of centimetres. Feed the soil with all the bits and then just strip off just the first layer or two to take the moisture from any soil away from the surface. And that is a couple of really, really important tips, my first tips about curing and storing the garlic. So we're going to move on to that in a little bit. And I'm sure some of you are probably thinking, what do we do with this much garlic? I also love cooking as well as growing food. So because I cook a lot, I I use a lot of garlic as well. And not just in cooking. I also brew something called fire cider that I brew quite a few litres of for a winter tonic every year. And that uses a lot of garlic as well. I use a lot of garlic in preserving, in chutneys and things like that as well. So with the elephant garlic, because that's my favourite one, I estimate that we could easily use one bulb a week. So that's at least 52 bulbs of the elephant garlic. And then I like a good couple of plats of the French garlic as well to hand for when I want a little bit more of a pungent garlic flavour. And then of course, because I'm saving my own seed, I need more than the same amount again of what we've saved to eat to save for seed. So with the elephant garlic you get maybe only 3 cloves per bulb. So I would need at least 50 bulbs of elephant garlic to re-sow roughly what I've done again this year, plus then our eating. And then obviously we need some surplus for giving away, maybe for selling a bit when I feel comfortable that we've got enough surplus, but also as a contingency for if you know, we don't get the full crop that we anticipate, so that we can still keep going at the same volume or more. But every year I'm trying to increase just a little bit because we love garlic. It is so, so, so good for you. Like I say, in the winter we have it in fire cider and in all of our soups and stews, and everything that I make pretty much has garlic in. And then in the summer we have it raw a lot in salad dressings. And I can honestly say we do not get sick. So the fresh veg, the garlic, I think it is the key. Wow, so that is all of the elephant garlic, and most of the potatoes out of this bed now. The elephant garlic just kept getting better and better, and we've got lots of really, really massive bulbs to sort through. We did get a few more rounds, but the percentage of rounds to fully formed bulbs has definitely dropped after those first 2 rows, which just goes to show long season and only your biggest cloves to be planted if you would like to get fully formed elephant garlic. And the ordinary garlic is absolutely beautiful as well. Really, really impressed with how this crop has come out. It's all really good size and really beautifully formed. So really, really happy with the harvest today. So I'm going to take this down now and get it all sorted and show you what we do next to get it drying. Right, so we've had a sort out of the garlic and we've ended up with 67 of the French garlic bulbs, all looking really good, most of which are really good size. And we've ended up with 145 of the elephant garlic. So the germination rates are really high, so that is awesome. Out of the 145 of the elephant garlic, we have got 44 rounds. So that is almost a third of our crop has come out in rounds. But that's okay, because like I say, I value those more for eating than I do for replanting, because I would rather save and store a bulb that I'm going to get between 3 and 6 cloves out of for replanting for my seed garlic. But that will give us a good percentage of the garlic we're going to eat. And then I'm going to save the majority of what's left for now for replanting. And then in September, October, when I look to replant the elephant garlic, I'll select all of the very, very biggest ones for replanting. And then I'll save the smaller ones loose, and we can continue to use those along with any of the smaller, really smaller bulbs from now on. So that's really cool. So obviously you've seen we've cleaned the garlic up already. So I've chopped the roots right back. I've stripped off just 1 or 2 layers of the outside to clean the dirt off. So yeah, don't go mad with the stripping off of the layers of the skin. Just 1 or 2 layers, but that's left them really nice and clean. The next phase for drying and storing is to bundle these up, and we're going to bundle them into groups of 4 to 6 depending on the sizes, and we're going to tie them onto strings, and then we're going to hang them to dry. I believe that the most important part about getting your garlic to store right through the year is how you dry your garlic. As you can see, we've hung ours now under an open shelter where it will be mostly protected from the rain, but it will get good airflow through the small bundles that we've made. We'll leave it hanging here now for at least 4 weeks. After that, I'll plait the garlic and then I'll hang it up in the kitchen, ideally somewhere where it won't get too hot, and I find this way it lasts me right through the year until the following harvest. Thanks for joining us today for another epic year's garlic harvest. We hope you've enjoyed the video, and hopefully you've maybe picked up a tip or 2 about how to store and dry your garlic to get the very most out of your own crops and harvests. If you'd like to see more on how we actually sow our no-dig garlic, then check out some of our previous videos that we've made about our garlic planting and harvests. Don't forget to like and comment on our videos. We love hearing from you, and please be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you soon. Peace and plants.